All right, so we have the awesome Dr. Stephen Tran here, based in Sydney. I'll have some mildly introduce you there, but I just thought I'd like to, introduce you to the community here. And you've been a part of this for what?
Since
Probably
May.
since May, yeah. And you and I go back a bit. We've seen each other on different trainings. We have similar networks within the manual therapy kind of neuro-based realm. So that's how you came into this. So you are already a really good, practitioner, getting great results already with your work. So to have someone like you come into the program has been really cool, and to see how it's impacted you as well. So maybe if you want to just fill the gaps of any part of the background, where you've come from, and how you got into this style of working, and how you got
Yeah.
into wanting to do this work.
So my background is chiropractic. So with that, I found success, but there was a lot of missing links. So I had a lot of injuries myself, and the chiropractic work was only so limited on how much it could help. Went into functional neurology with PDTR, and that was amazing. We learned a lot from that. There was a lot of theories and background knowledge on neurology. It gave us good understanding of what and how we can use neurology to help people. But with that system, as great as it was, so much information, it was very hard to systemize. And that created a lot of chaos in my mind with a bit of an ADHD mind. And within session, there was a lot of stress and mental fatigue. And I think ultimately what I saw when you were talking about your course was a bit more of a systemized approach to use that information, use your own techniques and modalities and treatments as well to work through the neurology of the human body. And that excited me because I was all over the shop at one point before I started the course. And now, since doing the course, everything is working in flow. There's a system I work by, and it has made my mind so much more relaxed when I'm in session. I don't need to be jumping on 10 million different ideas or things to figure out something. I'm just going, okay, what's the hierarchy of what I need to work on and just flow through that. And that was the first and most impactful thing for me. Secondly, I've always enjoyed the emotional side or psychology side of things, but I had some knowledge on how to work on it with PDTR and other techniques, but I think your course gave me more insight, more depth on how to question, how to pull information out, but also different treatment modalities to help with that and changing the mindset, changing beliefs and whatnot. And that was super powerful for myself. First and foremost, I did it for myself and learned it so I can help myself and had some treatment with you. And that made big shifts in my personal life, but also business when I had those mindset shifts. So experiencing that, I wanted to give that to other people, give that ability, use that ability to help other people to break free from their own beliefs and whatnot. So it's been a really fun journey going from just neurology and getting people out of pain and chronic pain to now neurology plus improving people's life and the generations but after, because we're not just impacting them but the generations after and their offsprings or whatnot, because if their neurology and mindset's great, their kids are going to be in such a much better space as well. So that's been the most powerful and impactful thing. And yeah, I feel like ever since I've stepped into this space, I've really found my purpose in life and work. And yeah, I'm just really living that, yeah, living my mission in life, just working on improving people's life mindset and the generations following. Yeah, so that's my
Cool.
little story. Yeah.
That's your why? That sounds good. It sounds like you're more like connected into your why, and it's becoming, rather than just here's some cool techniques and let's get some results.
Mm.
Let's do the same again, but there's a deeper meaning to it. What I wanted to achieve with the mastery as opposed to the foundations, and just because you already had an extensive functional neuro background before you even did the foundations. So just quickly, you touched on it there. What was the difference between those other neuro approaches and this system of functional neuro approaches?
Yeah.
Was the
First and foremost, as I mentioned, it is the system. It's not something that you just go, it's not a protocol per se, but it's a nice system to follow to have a better flow of what to work on. I think other modalities gave us a whole bunch of techniques and ways to treat and whatnot, and all this knowledge, but there's no systematic approach to work on people. Everyone's different, and you always need to jump around, but to have some sort of thing to follow through, to flow through, allows your brain to just do more throughout the session with the client, but throughout the day as well, and the weeks of working with neurology, because it can be a very complex topic or thing to work with, but you've definitely made it much more simple in terms of how to use it and using it effectively with clients. So I think that's the biggest better difference with other modalities is that. Yeah.
Yeah, cool, awesome. And then just quickly, what's the biggest difference in your perspective from the foundations to the mastery? Like, what's the difference
Yeah.
between those two programs?
More depth of what we need to work on and the layers that we need to work on. Ultimately, the foundation gives you the template of what we need to do to treat. Like that doesn't change, and you still use a lot of the foundation work, but it's just more depth on other aspects, whether it's psychological receptors, nociception, or other techniques or conditions like immune and yeah, just physiology, working on the physiology. There's a lot more depth of what we can work on. And I think the biggest thing is what I personally like is the community. There's a good group that we work with, and there's that contact time twice a week with yourself and the other group members. And there's like an open community chat that we can ask questions between each other or ask yourself. And that's been very helpful connecting with others and just hearing from others' experiences as well as sharing my own and getting some insights from other professionals in other fields like kinesiologists, physios, all sorts, right? And from yourself as well. So I think that is the biggest difference. Obviously, with foundations, there's less of that, understandably. But if you really want to do well in anything, I think having that community, being able to ask the questions and doing it consistently, having that accountability is massive. Without that, I think you won't be able to be the best version. Yeah.
Yeah, so if you think back, if you just did the foundations, yeah, you already sort of from your messaging from another time, like it really shifted things pretty quickly from
Mhm.
just that. But then if you were to think, okay, if I was then just left to my own devices, how different would your progress be, do you think?
If I just was left to my own device, there's more chance of me just dropping off and not like keeping accountable on the content and studying and sharpening my skills. A lot of times I find when I've done some online stuff, online courses, you just learn it in the beginning and then just fall on the wayside and just do bits and pieces of it. But having the accountability of showing up every week, twice a week even, you're more engaged and you're more on top of everything you're learning, which
Yeah,
has been very helpful. And yeah, just having that community is yeah, awesome. Yeah.
fantastic. So in terms of impact on your practice and your
Mhm.
business, what's
Mhm.
been like the most tangible things that you've noticed there?
I've changed the way I practice quite a lot. So I used to be working on a half an hour basis with clients and then back to back and just going through clients back to back throughout the day. And that was very exhausting. Now I work at a different pace, just seeing clients at an hour time frame. And it's much slower, much more much more relaxing pace. And then the clients feel more relaxed in that state. So I see less, but I make more. And I am in much more of a calmer state working through the course of the hour and the next clients after. Like I said, I'm working less, or not working less, but I'm seeing less clients, but I'm making more. So I'm able to increase my revenue with seeing the same amount or less people throughout the week because of the work I do now. And there's less stress. Being able to provide programs that I know will work and have the outcome, I'm not stressing about seeing people each week and just chasing results because I'm not sure if I can get it or not. In the past, I was getting results, but it took me way longer because I didn't have the system to help me narrow down the things I need to work on first and foremost. So I think it's just made practice more of a flowing thing now. It's just very relaxing and mentally not as draining. And yeah, revenue's definitely jumped up at least 30%, 40% at least. And I could increase it more with the new skills I'm learning and developing. It's just being ready and comfortable doing that when the time's right for me. I've gone on with the course. I felt more comfortable charging more because of the skills I've learned and the results I've been getting. The results I've been getting more efficiently and effective as I've gone on with the course, and obviously the new skills I learned. So I think as I grow and as I follow through with the course, I will be able to get to a point where I'm charging a fair fee for myself, I feel, and not selling myself short for the knowledge I have from learning all this stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, awesome. Okay, that's pretty cool. Yeah.
Mm.
So what's been the, because I know we talk about business a bit, what's been like the big thing that you've learned about business through this time? You may have touched on it already, but what's been a
Yeah.
thing you're like, oh, I shouldn't even know that. I wasn't aware of that. Or
Uh,
that's something I wanted to learn and now I get it.
yeah. It's the programs, I think. So some people may see it as packages, but we talk about it in programs, like as a program. But essentially, it's selling outcomes to clients, knowing that I can provide that outcome confidently. In the past, I have learned about selling packages and X amount of sessions or whatnot, but I wasn't confident that those sessions will lead to that specific outcome that we want. And it was just working on pain and whatnot. This is more packaging something or creating a program to help with much more of a deeper outcome or purpose with the clients, not just the chronic pain or the in
Yeah,
most cases for me, concussions or vertigos, going beyond those symptoms or those
yeah,
cases and going onto their personal mindset and development as well. And yeah, helping people achieve more than just the pain side of things. I think being able to create that program or learning how to create that program to make it easier for me to not worry about money in the long term or short term and chasing
yeah.
people every week and making sure they need to come every week. I've set a program out and this is the outcome, and they come for this many sessions. And I know by this many sessions, they'll be pretty good at a pretty good state. And yeah, we both are committed to that. I'm committed to getting them to that outcome. They're committed to the sessions and myself, and I don't need to worry about that financial stress of them falling off at one point or whatnot. Yeah, I think that's the biggest for sure.
So it's like shifting from the time for money to the time to the money for the outcome. So the
Yeah.
paying for this is what we're going to do in this amount of time. Maybe it's going to happen earlier, maybe it'll happen a little bit longer, but we're going to get you there either way. And
Yes.
so I think from a business perspective, you can plan a lot better because if you're like, okay, if my program costs $2,000, $3,000, and okay, my monthly target income is 20 grand, then I just know exactly what you need to do. And then you end up working with higher quality people and you tailor your marketing towards that person. So they're always, you can still have one-off sessions on the side for sure. That's
Yeah,
fine. But it's like gradually, this is probably what you're doing, right? You're gradually moving away from that one to like time for money and to
definitely.
more programs, right? So there's
Definitely.
automatically now you have two different ways to make money in your own business in the clinic. And
Mm.
yeah, it's a different energy, right? It feels different, right?
It's a different energy, and the clients, like you said, you get a different quality of clients that are very committed to their health and very committed to you. And it
Yeah,
just allows you to be in a much more higher frequency or higher space to work in. And yeah, it's just yeah, different for sure.
yeah. And I feel like it makes you feel like you're more of a business person in a way because it's like you have
Mm.
like a unit of something that you're sort of like, as opposed to I'm just a bit on survival mode. I've just got to do good sessions. I've got to keep doing it, and you might have a bad day, and then everything's bad, and you're like, oh no, and then that rocks your confidence. And then whereas with this, it feels this is just my personal perspective. It feels a bit more professional.
Yep.
Do you agree?
Yeah, for sure, for sure. People know what they're in for and they know
Yeah.
what the outcome that they're looking for and how what we can provide. And it's just simple. It's just very simple for both parties and everyone's on the same page. I think that's the biggest thing. Everyone's on the same page and comfortable with the plan going forward.
Yeah, that's awesome. And what's been the biggest impact on yourself, on your perception of yourself?
There's been heaps of personal development. I think I've worked a bit with you personally as well, some one-on-one sessions, and it's the shift in the mindset, having breaking free from a lot of beliefs I've had in the past that were limiting me in business, but also limiting myself in life and relationships and whatnot. I think it's put me in more of a grounded, more present state as well. Yeah, the changes have been profound. I can't put things to word right now, but I am just in a better space mindset wise. And yeah, I feel like I can do anything. I can take on more. I can take on a lot more than I used to. I feel much more about myself than I did before. I think that's the big thing. Yeah.
And you're only really, what, 5 months in, 5 or 6 months in, and a
Yeah.
lot of change. Yeah, and it's exponential, right? It just builds and
Drastic shift from before May till when I did the course and had a couple of sessions with you. Within that May to October window, I've just been a different person. Business has
mm,
been different. Relationship has changed a little bit as well, like for the better, just because of the shifts I've had in myself. And yeah, my partners definitely see me in a different light now. So it's very positive overall. Yeah.
amazing. That's so good. All right. Yeah, what's your, in terms of the value for money and stuff like that, how did you perceive that for yourself compared to
I
like what you've been through and maybe a degree or something? I know
yeah,
that Kikara is what, like a 5-year degree, and I don't know.
100K, 100K.
Okay. Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
then maybe compare it to that value wise or something. I don't know.
It's nuts. Like the what you learn or how much you can affect with what we've learned in this course, the functional neuro approach is just exponential. Like it's yeah, you can't put a value on it. I've made my money back within that first week of practicing and using your technique. So I started in May. I've learned all the things in within a week and I started implementing it right away. And I already saw the increase in client numbers and rebooking rates and whatnot and made my money back within that second week, like first 2 weeks. It was a no-brainer for me to jump onto the advanced at that point for me anyways, because I've had the neuro background, the functional neuro background with PDT and a few other courses. So it was very easy for me to integrate and adapt. But it was a no-brainer the way it's so simply created for us to work so efficiently with that without too much stress in our mind when we're trying to figure things out. It just was a no-brainer. The advanced course, there's so much content that's being put out all the time that yeah, the amount of courses I've done outside cost more than what I pay for what I learn here. So yeah, it just makes and the contact time with yourself and other students as well, the colleagues as well, it just makes it worth it. You're upskilling and upgrading every week. Literally every week, you're upskilling and upgrading. You can't put a value on that. You can't put a value on that, the lessons and things you learn and how much you improve week in, week out. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, that's good, man. Thanks for sharing that. So that's
Yeah.
probably, yeah, because the last question was like any advice to someone who's maybe they've done the foundations, maybe they haven't done any of it, or just say for someone who's, oh, I've done the foundations, I thought that was really good, and I know I want to go to that next step and make, a bit of money, big commitment. What would you say to
Mhm.
them? You already said it already just then, but what would you
Yeah.
say?
I had the problem with the money as well, but what I saw is I've increased my client right away. I've had more flow. It only made sense to continue on to advance that and be more busy, make more revenues. You can make like it's paid itself off so many folds, and you're learning a bit more. Then the course as well. There's extra stuff that Nick introduces that to help you make more money and build that financial freedom in the future. So it's not just the skills; it's business as well, and outside of business, your personal life, your personal development. So what you're paying for, it's not just what you think, which most people think is just for the skill set. It's not that. It's yeah, business growth, it's personal growth, as well as the skill. Yeah.
Cool. Awesome. Thanks, man. Yeah, yeah. Keep smashing it. So, yeah, anyone, if you don't know, Steven's the guy in Sydney. He's doing some great work out there. Yeah, give him a bell on Instagram if you see that. But yeah, thanks for sharing that, mate. And
You're
want
welcome.
to keep seeing you grow. Cheers.
Thanks.